Good morning. It's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself. And today I want to talk about resistance to healing. So if you have a chronic illness and you are not healing yourself, you're not healed yet, you've been working at it for a long time, we need to look at the resistance to healing itself. Okay, so what does this mean? It means there might be a part of you that is actually resistant to healing. Now, these parts are fragmented parts of yourself. And if you haven't seen my video about fragmentation, go back and look at it. But this is not a conscious part. This is a true fragmented part that we need to call back into being so it can become whole. So this fragmented part is in resistance to healing. Why? Why is that the case? Well, usually there's two parts of yourself when you are in resistance to healing. And it's something like the victim versus the victor, or the person who is in control, leading the charge with fierce determination. So a lot of times these two sides reside within people with a chronic illness. So what do I mean by this? There's an outward part. There's the part that is embodied you, the part that you most identify with, the part that kept you safe, and the part that kept you going through your illness and your trauma in order to help you survive. And that was the controlling side of you, the side that took control. It's not trying to be a bully. It's not a bad trait. It is a good trait. This part of yourself took control and said, you are not going down like this. You are not giving up. You're going to push forward. You're going to find a way, no matter what it takes. And this side of you kept moving. It kept moving and moving, right? This side of you moved. The side of you moved and wouldn't stop. It didn't look back at the other parts that were still injured, frozen, fragmented in your, it didn't have time. A lot of times when you're in a survival mode, you don't have time to look back at other parts of yourself that may not be ready to take the leap. So this controlling aspect of you, this determined, wonderful part of you, right? This victorious part of you grabbed everybody, all the pieces that they could, and they said, come with me. We can't stay here. This is a bad place. We're in shock. It helped you through the initial trauma, the initial crisis. It helped you get through this situation, and it put you into survival mode, and it helped you stay alive and survive. And this aspect of you is your most dominant aspect, and it's the one that you identify with. Like, I do try. I do take control of the situation. I am doing my best to heal. I'm trying everything I can, right? So you really identify with this person. But there's usually another side of you, the opposite side, and that is the victim. The side that's the helpless person, the victim. The person who feels like they want somebody else to take care of it for them. Like they wish someone could swoop in and make it better. Someone could wave a magic wand. Like someone could help them. A doctor, a person, the universe, God, whoever, right? So this part of yourself, this victim part, is in resistance to healing. Not because it doesn't want to heal. It does. Of course, nobody wants pain or chronic symptoms that destroy your life and your health. But this aspect of yourself is being denied and pushed away and disowned every day by the stronger part of you, the victor part, the controlling part, the part that thinks it is weak and not okay to feel like a victim. Like that is a bad trait. So we resist that trait, even though we know we identify with it. Even though we know sometimes it gets overwhelming and we cry or we isolate or we just say, this isn't fair. Why is this happening to me? We wallow inside in our own victimhood. We feel like it's not fair. Like, why me? Can't somebody fix this? How come it's happening to me? Why can't I just get better, right? We feel like the universe is against us, and we feel sad. We just feel like giving up, laying down, and giving it over to somebody else. We feel like a total victim and failure, and in our weakest moments, we just identify and wallow in this identity because it's underneath and it's there, right? It's underneath the aspect of us that really wants to heal and wants to bring that part forward along, and it looks back on that part and it says, stop feeling that way. You're not a victim. If you keep saying that, you're going to keep staying stuck, right? It disowns, it denies that part, it shames that part. This controlling part of you tells the victim part of you to stop it, to grow up, to regain control, to stop looking at it, thinking about it, feeling it, to stop acknowledging it, to stop playing the victim or doing anything. But you're not playing a victim. You truly are a victim. What happened to you was not fair. It is not right. It sucks. It is terrible. You should be able to ask for help. You should be able to have somebody help you take it away, and for God and the universe to be on your side and for healing to be yours. It is not bad to want that. It is not bad to feel that way. And we need to stop being in resistance to the resistance itself. Meaning we need to stop resisting that we do have that aspect of us that is the victim and that maybe doesn't want to heal. Not that it doesn't want to heal, because it wants to heal, but that wants to be taken care of, that wants to be understood, that wants to be supported, that wants to be loved, that wants to be nurtured, that wants to take a break, that wants to slow down, that wants to be held. Like almost like you're in your mother's arms, being cradled, taken care of, and saying everything is going to be okay. It wants and it longs and it yearns to feel that kind of unconditional acceptance, love, and safety. And that feeling of everything is going to be okay. There's nothing wrong with wanting to feel that way. And when we resist, that aspect is real and it needs to be heard. It needs to be soothed. It needs to be talked to every day, rather than just bulldozing it through with the other aspect of us that is also valid, that says, I just want this to be over. Come on, lift your head up. Come with me. Let's heal. Let's take the bull by the horns. Let's do this ourselves. Let's, do the work and really control our own destiny and solve this problem, right? They're two very different parts of yourself. And the one that's been driving the show can never succeed without the other one in hand. Okay, so we need to take that fragmented and that part that we shame and that part that we push away and deny, disown, reject, and wish wasn't there and wish we could change about ourselves. And we need to just love it, to accept it, to meet it where it is, to treat it like a child, to sit with it as long as it needs, and to say, how could you feel loved and nurtured and cared for and safe and cradled in your mother's arms? How could you have that sense of love and security and safety and well-being? How could I show that to you? What do you need to do? What do you need to feel? Maybe it doesn't want you to rush ahead with your protocol today and get out there and do all these things to make healing happen. Maybe it wants you to cry or stop and take a break and hold that aspect of it yourself. Maybe it wants you to listen. Maybe it needs to feel understood, to feel heard, to feel validated, to feel appreciated, right? To feel accepted. And so this denial or this resistance to the actual resistance, we resist the resistance that we have. That's truly part of the big problem when we're dealing with parts of ourselves in fragmentation that need to come back together as a whole in order to feel like they can both exist. Both of those parts can exist within you and work together. They can be okay that this part looks after this part and this part goes with this part. They hold hands, they walk together, they're in cooperation and collaboration, and they can both be okay to live within you and to have their own needs and wants and feelings and emotions, and to have them on equal footing, right? It's a partnership where one's not suppressed and pushed down all the time and the other one's not always right, right? So we don't want this to be a one-sided relationship where one side of the partnership is silenced many times over. We want the communication open. Just like a real partnership or a real marriage, you want to open the communication lines between those two opposite warring sides of yourself that need to come together, hear each other, listen to each other, compromise, meet each other, work together for the greater good, because both of the sides of you want to be healed. And one wants to be healed by taking control of the situation and, you know, running the race and climbing the mountain and achieving the goal and doing it with as much positivity and determination as that person can. And the other one also wants healing, but it wants to be heard and loved and accepted and validated and connected, right? It wants these other aspects. And it feels like if the side that says, let's just heal, and pulls this person through the marathon, dragging them and across the finish line, they never got to complete the process within them, that maybe they needed something to be heard or accepted or validated or loved or taken care of or connected with. It needs this, and it doesn't want to complete. It's almost like dragging its heels in as the other side is pulling it, because it's saying, but wait, you don't understand yet. It's almost like, have you ever had a fight with your significant other or your spouse, and you're saying, this hurt me, I want to tell you why, and you're explaining your side of the argument, like why something that person did really left you feeling bad, and you're trying to get them to see your side of it or your point of view, because there's something vulnerable within you that you want to express to them and have them really hear. And you can tell they're not hearing you, and at some point they just say, it's fine, you're right, it's right, you're right, I'm sorry, let's move on. But you can tell they didn't really hear you. All they want to do is just move on. So they say, I'm sorry, okay, let's just have this be over. But there's a part of you inside that doesn't feel, even though you want it to be over too, you actually don't want it to be over this way. You want to be heard, you want to be validated, and you want to feel understood, so that you can complete that process in your heart. And then it just naturally feels okay to have the fight be over and to feel like you can move on and you've grown through it, rather than just in frustration, him or her just handing you the apology when you can tell they don't really understand what you're trying to say. And that's much like these parts within inside you. The victim part is saying, I want to heal, I want to cross that finish line with you, but please wait, I don't feel heard, I don't feel loved, this doesn't feel resolved for me internally, inside, and I don't want to just cross the finish line and have none of this have mattered, to have suffered in silence or without a reason, or I don't feel resolved within myself. So sure, I can cross the finish line and move on with my life, but how can I move on with my life when I don't feel resolved internally within me? I don't feel that completion. I don't feel validated, understood, accepted, loved, and ready, like truly ready to say, okay, I'm ready to start anew, I'm ready to heal. I feel that this is completed for me, and I feel ready to trust and to move forward and to build new. So I hope this is a long video, and I hope it's made sense, but don't be in resistance to the resistance. There's always two parts of yourself, and we just looked at one aspect today, the victim and the controller or the victor. And they're both amazing parts of you, and that's only one aspect of you. There's many others when it comes to chronic health and chronic conditions. And there's always one side of you that's sort of taken the control and taken the lead. There's one dominant side of you, but there's the opposite, vulnerable side of that same situation that also belongs to you and is being denied, has fragmented off, is being dissociated with, disowned, pushed away, neglected, rejected, and it needs to be heard. It needs to be able to work together and to truly resolve what it needs to say and how it needs to feel, so that those two parts of yourself can form a partnership, and then you can heal, truly heal. So I hope it's been helpful, and I will see you in the next video.